Hi guys, we have some quick notes here, should just take a few minutes. Our whole goal is we want to be able to graph linear functions using a table. So we have to make the table in order to graph it. When we do this, we get to pick the x values that go in, and then we'll plug those in for x and see what comes out. So most of the time, we're going to pick super easy numbers because we're going to do this a super easy way. So I want my simplest numbers that I can think of, 5 simple numbers. So I'm going to do -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Simple numbers so I can get a simple graph. What's important to know is that when we're done with this, when we graph it, we should have a linear function. Remember from last chapter that that means it goes in a straight line. So now we'll take our x and we'll plug it in for x, and then whatever the result is, we'll write right here. So -2 goes in, so this is f of -2 or q of -2. And -3 times -2 is a +6. Then I plug in -1. -3 times -1 gets me a +3, so that goes there. Oh, that's a 5. There's a 3. Then I'm going to plug in 0. 0 times -3 is 0. Next, I'll plug in 1. 1 times -3 is -3. Lastly, I'll plug in 2. 2 times -3 is -6. Now that we've plugged those values in, remember f of x just means y. That's all this is. It's just saying, hey, by the way, y. So if I have my x and my y values, I can put those points onto my graph and then connect those points with a straight line to make my linear function. So my first point is -2, 6. -2 means I'm going to go left 2. 6 means I'm going to go up 6 because it's positive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll put a little dot there. So there's my first spot. Now I'm going to insert a new shape, a new dot. This one's at -1, 3. -1, 3. 1, 2, 3. Next, I'm going to put one at 0, 0. So that means I'm not going to go anywhere on either of them. 0, 0 is right here. Next, 1, -3. 1, -3. 1, 2, 3. Next, I'm going to do 2, -6. That means right 2, 1, 2, down 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make sure as we're doing this that we see that we have a straight line here. There's no curve to it. If this point was like out here or something, I'd think, wait a second, I probably did something wrong here, and I'd go back and check that point. After we have our dots, we can make sure that we're doing this right by putting in a straight line. That's going to show us that we have a straight line. I connect all of the points with this straight line. Make sure we go through all of them perfectly. When I have my line, I need to make sure that I put arrows on either end of it because I want to show that this goes on forever on my graph. It doesn't just stop. So make sure you have your arrows on your linear function. And this is the linear function -3x. I know you guys probably remember how to graph with a slope and an intercept, and we're going to get to that, but we need to make sure we can use a table first. Let's go ahead and take a look at the second one on our note sheet. Here I have 2x minus 3. When I graph this, I'm going to use my same 5x values, and on the next one we'll talk about sometime when we might not use those 5. But on this one, I'm going to use those 5x values, and I'm going to use -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Again, I'm going to plug in those 5 values. -2 times 2 is -4, minus 3 is -7. -1 times 2 is -2. -2 minus 3 is -5. Plugging in 0. 0 times 2 is 0. 0 minus 3 is negative 3. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. Next, we have 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 3 is a positive 1. Now I plot my points. Yes, I need to plot all 5. Negative 2, negative 7, that's left 2, down 7. There's my first dot. Negative 1, negative 5, that's left 1, down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next we have 0, 3, so I don't go left or right at all. I just go down 3 because it's a negative 3. Now we have 1, 1, right 1, down 1. Now I have 2, 1, means I'm going to go right 2 from the origin, then up 1. There I have my 5 points and they go in a straight line. So I'm going to connect my points with my straight line. It is really important that we draw that straight line. We don't just leave it as the 5 points because we need a linear function. So I need a whole straight line. It's also important to note that last chapter we talked about how do I know if a function is linear by a table. If we look at this, we should be able to see that these are going by the same value, up 1, up 1, up 1, up 1. These are going by the same value, up 2, up 2, up 2, up 2, up 2. So this is clearly a linear function by the table and by the graph. Here's one more example. This one is a little bit different because I have this negative 1/3. We have to kind of think here because I don't want you guys to write a negative 2 here, but I'm going to. If I write negative 2 here, and then I try and find the x value, or the y value for that negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 1/3 is negative 2/3. Ugh, fractions. Negative 2/3 plus 5 is positive 4 1/3. I don't want to have to graph thirds on, I don't want to deal with any of that. So it would be a lot easier if I used 0 in the middle. But then we have to think, well, what are some numbers that are easier to multiply 1/3 by? A number that's a lot easier to multiply 1/3 by would be 3, right? So what if I put negative 3 here and positive 3 here? Another number that's easy to multiply by 1/3 is negative 6. Notice these numbers are multiples of 3. 3, 6, I could go negative 9, and so on. Here I have positive 6. Now let's see what happens when I multiply these out, because we might run into some problems with our graph. Let's plug in negative 6 first. Negative 6 times negative 1/3 gives me a positive 2. 2 plus 5 is 7. Negative 3 times negative 1/3 gives me 1. 1 plus 5 is 6. 0 times negative 1/3 is 0. 0 plus 5 is 5. And if I'm thinking right, if I've got a linear function here, 7, 6, 5 should be 4 and then 3, but let's double check. 3 times negative 1/3 is negative 1. Negative 1 plus 5 is 4. Here I've got 6 times negative 1/3, which is negative 2. Negative 2 plus 5 is 3. Now I have my points to graph. Negative 6 and 7 means left 6 this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then up 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. First dot. Negative 3, 6. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 0, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 6, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Now I can connect my dots. I have arrows on either side of my line. Go straight through all of my points using a straight edge like a ruler. It's pretty much all that there is to this, guys, is making sure that our lines go in order, our numbers are evenly spaced. So these go up by 3s, then these go up by 1s, or down by 1s, I mean. When you guys get to your homework, it's going to look like this. I have a sheet that looks like this. It's very similar to what we just did. I mean, remember that anytime you multiply anything by 0, you get 0. And here, you might want to go by something other than 2 and 1, unless you want to deal with fractions. And actually, I have the numbers in here for it because I'm such a nice guy. This one goes by 2's because I'm going to multiply by a half, and it's easier to multiply an even number by a half. This one goes by 5's because that's the number in the bottom, right? It's 3/5, so it goes by 5's. That's all it is for your homework, is those 6 graphs. So make sure you have those ready to go, and that's it for this video. Only an 11 minute. Good to go.